Okay, welcome, welcome. We are starting the live, and we have so much to talk about. We're going to be talking about a lot of some toxic shit that could actually really trigger you. We need to talk about it. I just posted a video that really was crazy. It's of a little boy at a Hooters who is being egged on by his father to, from behind, the girl not knowing, the waitress not knowing, grabbing her ass. Basically, like it's a game. And I have a problem with that. We are co-creating a new divine feminine energy and a new divine masculine energy based on ancient wisdom of the balances that are no longer present. Hence why we have so many runner chaser stories, people in separation, people unable to be fully vulnerable in love. And so we've got special guests, two beautiful divine masculines from different age groups. And let me see, I'm looking for Water Bear Medicines to come on. Feeling Studios coming on. Both divine masculines. One's under 20, one's 25, the other one is in their 40s. They're amazing men, and I'm waiting for Water Bear to join us. And Feeling Studio, let me go ahead. Where are you, Feeling Studio? So I'm going to send you an invitation, but let's not start right away. Feeling Tarot. Let me wait till Water Bear Medicine comes on. Welcome, Barron. Thanks for being here. I love that you're here.
Yeah.
And I don't know where Water Bear Medicine is. I just got off the phone with Water Bear Medicine, and I want to wait for him, get him to join. We have a lot of questions that were sent to us. If you have questions for the divine masculine, some of the questions are very twin flame. How to support the masculine. Let me know if Water Bear comes on. I'm not sure where he's at, but I don't think he realizes it's time. Can you send him the invite if you again the link to the live, Barron? To Water Bear, can you do that?
Yes.
On WhatsApp. And then let's start the, we're going to start this. We need to start this. There's a lot we need to talk about because the gender wars is a real problem. It's not helping you out. If you want to be single, great, be single. That's fine. But the hate that I'm seeing against the divine masculine and against the divine feminine is unhinged. Our last live was last week. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. And, oh, here he is. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring him on. I don't know why I'm not able to add you. What the fuck's going on here? Hang on for a quick second. It's not giving me an invite thing.
That's strange.
Yeah. Hang on. Okay, here we go. We got him as a guest. Okay, here we go. Water Bear Medicine. Okay, perfect. All right, so welcome. Unmute yourself, Barron. Mark, I'm really happy that you guys are here. I think the last live was really amazing. If you don't mind, if we could start out with the first questions, and then I'm going to let you guys roll with whatever. You guys all saw the video of the little boy grabbing that girl's ass at Hooters. And I wanted, and the father being so proud and thinking that's such a great, you're my man. Why is this wrong? Who wants to go first? Why is this wrong? Why is this wrong for men to continue perpetuating the concept that a woman's body, this whole concept of your body, my choice bullshit, teaching a kid under 5, I reposted the video. I was going to stitch it and then thought second because I don't want to put that child whose face is on public view anywhere near what I'm talking about. So I've reposted if you want to see my repost. And this kid is being egged on by his father to grab a waitress at Hooters, her ass. Why is this wrong? Who wants to go first?
Hi, I don't mind to speak up. The obvious thing
that I think's going on here is you've got this boy that's clearly aware that he's doing something that is not really allowed, that's going to be disproved. And you see him and his cheeky face as he knows that he's doing something wrong and then seeks approval of his father. I mean, ultimately, it becomes a choice, doesn't it? Do you want to be in a society where that sort of thing is okay? Or do you want to be in a society where there is respect for one another? There is mutual love and understanding for one another. I mean, I was talking before the live with Tony, and about how in an animal kingdom, if there is any sort of behavior that is not approved by the group leader, by the culture within that group, they will be excluded. If there's in the dolphin culture, if they don't like the behavior of one of their younger males, they're going to be told off, and they're going to have to fall in line with what is the agreed behavior. And so, you know, we have to bring what we want into our cultures, into our communities, that we choose to be in. What did you want to say about that?
I wanted to basically add on and basically say that I think it's wrong because, I mean, it's a child. You know, it's a child, it's a person that's basically has their innocence, still basically understand these things when it comes to like sexuality, sexual harassment, violence. And that was the reason why I sent my mother the video, because it's just, I couldn't even believe what I was watching, like literally. And it just, we're talking about a place where, you know, it's sexually charged, you know, basically horny people, basically speaking. And it's like we're bringing kids, like actual kids to this place where it's like they don't understand, you know, let alone their themselves, their own sexualities yet, you know, because of their young age and plus they have their innocence still. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And the fact, it's not even the fact of the kid being taught by his father that, why was the kid even there to even begin with? Why was he even there to even begin with? That's really my thing.
And I agree. And I'm going to add the fact that in Irish pubs, they have kids running around, and it's a pub. You know, they have meals, they have beer, they have this, they have that, and it's fun. And there's music and live dancing sometimes and things of that nature. This is a whole different fucking setup. It's akin to taking your kid to a Playboy club when they were still open. My point, I want to say this. As a woman who grew up as a child having her ass grabbed at the age of 8 and this and that, which created massive anxiety against the masculine, massive, where I couldn't enjoy my burgeoning body and sexuality and beauty, you know, innate beauty. You're young, you're fucking beautiful. And no matter what you look like, you're beautiful, you're young. And unable to really express that in a safe zone, because in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and even to now, that is not allowed. That women don't. So you end up becoming a woman who seeks that as a testament to her worth. You know, OnlyFans is a good example of that. Or you become a woman, and I have a very good friend who's very, very, very beautiful. She's a physically gorgeous woman. She does not go out at all. As she tries to avoid going out. If she wears a pretty dress, she's harassed every step. This is bullshit. And so when I saw the video that you sent me, Barron, I triggered like an avalanche, a tsunami of vitriol emotions in me going, what the fuck are you fucking, had I been there in that restaurant, which I would have never been in a Hooters in a million years, you couldn't pay me $1 million to watch.
No, same. I didn't even know what it was.
Exactly. But the point is, if I had been there to witness that in another, you guys would have called me a Karen, which is bullshit, because I always said, what the fuck are you doing, my friend? Are you sharing? I want the manager. Because the girl is in a situation where she can't say shit, so she smiles. And that is learned helplessness. It's forced. And I'm sorry if I sound incredibly intense.
No, you don't.
We have incredible questions for you guys that came through. But I didn't want to talk about, because if you see this post that I reposted because I didn't want to stitch it. I thought about it and I took it down because I didn't want to put the kid in that kind of conversation. But I reposted it so you guys can go see it on my repost. And I want you to, first of all, the guy's comments were turned off, but he never deleted the post. So as I understand that this has always been the norm, we have sold people on slave blocks. We have dehumanized people for thousands of years, but that's not the point. The ascension is not about that. It's not about accepting that. Can I ask the first question? So the divine masculine we know is in jeopardy. We know that the divine masculine is going through a massive awakening that is shaking all these old toxic ideas out. So one of the questions I got was, I feel mine is going through it right now, how to support the divine masculine through the tsunami of the shakeup of these old things that we just talked about that are no longer acceptable, and the divine masculine is waking up to a new consciousness of how do I put it, that is a new integrity, a new way of seeing himself in the world. How do we support a masculine in his, I guess, depressive state, in connection also with who he is as a man, as a provider? Meaning, is he rich? Is he not? Does he feel like not being rich makes him less of a man? How do we provide support as women to these men who are going through it?
Okay, so I've mentioned it before that having any sort of trauma and massive change in your life, when you want to overcome that, the key really is to be in group where you won't feel judged. And if you're in a male only group as a divine masculine, you're going to find the support and understanding without judgment. And that is going to be so crucial. Now, obviously, that could simply just be a friend, or if you don't have a friend, if he doesn't have a friend that he can communicate openly with. And quite often we find that the people that we're around don't necessarily share our value structure. They don't understand spirituality. They're not aware of what this new way of being is. And so being able to connect in groups online where you may not be anywhere near, you can then at least find that sacred safe space where you can be yourself, and they will hold space for you and you will hold space for them. And that is what it is. It really is. It's about having that divine rehab, if you like, to help you let go of these old traumatic patterns, these old toxic ways that no longer serve us.
Right. Right.
No, it's very
What
true.
do you think?
No, I agree with that. But also, I mean, a lot of the times, a lot of masculines, they're going to be looking right, left, center, down. They're not going to know where. They're going to think like, okay, this is new. Like the old ways of masculine, basically of what I was taught.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Some spam call, whatever. But basically, what I was going to say was that a lot of the things that the old masculine, a lot of the things of old masculinity being taught to young people, the reason why so many men are feeling the directionless that is happening right now is because a lot of this stuff is being torn down. It's not only just being torn down basically by the feminine, it's also being teared down by powerful masculines, whether you agree with these men or not, or their personal lifestyles. So that's what's happening. And when that happens, I feel like how the feminine can basically support is basically acknowledge like, hey, the very fact of you actually realizing of what you were taught was wrong is the very first step towards you becoming a better man, plus also a better divine masculine, and you actually stepping into that divine masculinity. That's basically the very first step. The second step is basically what Mark said, which is basically to have a support group. Now, when it comes to a support group, you are going to lose those friends as you elevate and also as you ascend up the spiritual ladder, basically. So you have to find spiritual men like either me or Mark, basically within that realm, our realm, basically, who are basically willing to be there on the spiritual realm and plus also level when it comes to your new transition. Because a lot of this is going to feel new to you. A lot of this is going to feel new to you. It's going to feel very, very barren and just strange. It's going to feel strange, but basically it's that acknowledgement that men need basically from women. It's like, hey, thank you, you've acknowledged the first steps, now let's go through the next steps. And that's where the men come in and basically will help with that. That's
right. I love that. The next question is, does the divine masculine consciously understand why they're running, or is this an unconscious reaction to the divine love of sacred feminine?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah. Does the divine masculine consciously understand why they're running, or is it an unconscious reaction? Running.
I mean, it's an individual experience. So, my understanding is that we have to each go through the journey of running until we understand, I'm running because, and whatever that reason is, for many, it is now understanding that what you were running away from was yourself. You were running away from the patterns that you did not want to confront, that you did not want to accept were your coping strategies, were the toxic patterns that you were trying to escape from the acceptance that these patterns no longer serve you, and that for you to ascend, you now have to drop these patterns. Yes. And in order to do so, you have to accept that these are toxic, and then you have to, and this is the wobbly moment, how am I going to be next? What is going to replace this? Because when you create a void, more toxicity can come in as a coping strategy, or you can find the role model, the peer group, or the book that's going to help you, or the online course that's going to help you. What do you say, Barron?
No, I completely agree. It's just I also feel like a lot of men are basically running is because here's the thing: a lot of men were basically told by other men, like, hey, you're supposed to run towards this. You're supposed to run towards cheating on your wife. You're supposed to run towards domestic abuse. You're supposed to run towards hierarchy. You're supposed to run towards patriarchy. You're supposed to run towards these things, all these like toxic masculine things. You're supposed to run towards it. And now men are just like, it's almost like when, a person like falls over, hits their head a bit too way hard, basically. And it's like, wait a minute, like, hold on a second. What is this? Like, what, like, I was taught this, like, I was taught this, I was taught that, like, all these unconscious things, because that's the thing when you're a child. And the reason I'm just going back to the video, Tony, like, I'm going back to the video of that I sent you when it came to the boy touching the girl's butt at Hooters, basically. It's like, that boy doesn't understand. That boy has no wherewith or this. I mean, he sees his father laughing and he thinks it's good. These are the most crucial developmental years of children. And after 7 or 9 years of age, that's it. It's completely welded together. It's welded through. Good luck getting it. So the reason why a lot of men are basically running is because they're being hit by a train. They're being hit by a semi-truck. All of their beliefs that they were taught from when they were children has just gone out the window completely. Right. And now they're completely directionless. I'm like, okay. And same with Mark. Basically, it comes to the unpredictability, basically. I'm going to tell you this right now. Men do not like unpredictability. We like plans. We're lateral thinkers. That's it. We believe in schedules. We believe in everything being stringent to course. So when this is happening, basically a lot of men, some of the men are going to the feminine, basically some of the feminine, and I'm happy that there's a supportive feminine there, basically. It's basically acknowledging, okay, you've done the first step, which is what most men are not going to be able to do, basically, is to wake up from their childhood conditioning, which is within their subconscious from when they were children. And basically, the next step is, to find that support group. And that support group, I'm going to say this to you because I've gone down the red pill rabbit hole and everything. that support group is not Andrew Tate. I'm sorry. It's not a man who's basically worth a bunch of money, who basically took a bunch of girls, pimped them, and is now making fun of the same men that he supposedly helped. It's definitely not that. And it also goes back into, because I spoke with Mark preemptively on the phone before this live stream, and I couldn't even believe this. I was looking at this one dude, sports car, Toyota Supra, Recaro, like just everything I look up to when it comes to a man. Like, he's got muscles, he's got money, he's rich, he's got, like, everything looks perfect on the outside. I couldn't believe this. I couldn't go to sleep, basically, because, and we're going to talk about financial insecurity later in the live. I couldn't go to sleep because soon I'm about to be laid off. That's my own deal, but not my own doing. But it's just, I'm looking at this dude, and I see this dude breaking down, full on crying, bawling eyes out. I'm addicted to prawn, complete. I'm addicted to OF. I spent $20,000 on OF. I thought I was tired. I was like rubbing my eyes. I'm like, wait a minute, was it that edible that I took? Am I seeing things? Like, seriously. And no, it's a whole video of this dude who I used to look up to, bawling his eyes out about how he got addicted to prawn, and how he's still addicted, and how he doesn't feel anything, and how he cannot connect his root chakra anymore because he went so far into the OF and the prawn world, basically, that his root chakra is completely warped. Like, yes, it takes time to fix and everything, but it's hard. It's a very hard thing. But I couldn't believe this. So there's people to look up to, but tread carefully. That's the thing. And what I've also learned about is nobody has it really figured out. Like, that's the whole point. We have experience, and we can help each other as divine masculines or divine feminines, and we can be there basically for when the storm gets a bit crazy, basically, and the boat starts rocking. But what I've realized is that nobody has it truly figured out. And that's the amazing thing. And that's the unifying part of community, to where we can all learn from each other.
That's what Mark is looking to also do, is groups of healing men. So when we talk about the running, Mark, are men aware? Because am I correct to determine that men are not aware of what they're running until they hit the wall, and then they're fully aware, and their whole toxic upbringing collapses around them, and then they're trying to pick themselves off the ground? Is that a correct, like, Reader's Digest of what you guys have shared just now, or am I wrong? Am I not getting the whole picture?
I think it really depends on your history. So I'll give you a little bit of insight. If a lot of the patterns and trauma that a masculine has to face, he has already partially faced, then he's going to gain awareness much quicker.
Exactly.
If your trauma is, as you say, like a heavy addiction, and you still rely on that as a coping strategy, and you don't have other coping strategies, then you are going to spiral down into the depths of that coping strategy or that addiction. And that is going to you're going to have to reach a rock bottom, because you don't have any other rung on the ladder to catch. If you look at it like a ladder, or imagine a water slide that's got more than one exit, and if you want to get out higher up, you need to have that higher up coping strategy that stops you falling to the very bottom.
Right.
Now, I'm using analogies because it is so difficult when we don't know if somebody has a drinking problem. We don't know if somebody has an SA abuse problem from their childhood. We don't know if it is the PRON problem. There is so many different things that people have gone through. If you do not feel safe because of your surroundings, because of maybe a drug addiction, you're going to find it really difficult. You need to have a kind of nurturing space to do the inner work. If you have to get over an addiction because you have no other way of coping, then I have known of people that have been that had heavy addictions, that manage in a kind of dysfunctional way to live, to do some of their work while still living in that coping strategy. But you see, it comes at a cost, doesn't it? Because in the
Yes.
end, you never really become free of what's trapping you in your base chakras, in your lower energies. The ascension, as we call it, is really means rising out of survival into love,
Yeah.
into thriving. And that gives anybody, no matter what religion you're in, you want to be out of survival states. You want to be into a more consciously loving state where you get to choose how you behave and you're no longer controlled by a base instinct, which is what I would call addictions. It's you're now unconsciously coping with life. And
Addiction.
it's God, please go ahead, Barron.
Oh no, addictions, but also scarcities. Like for me, basically, it was like previously just money scarcity. That's really what it is, which I'm still basically getting over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that's the thing. It's also scarcities because I mean, and it goes back to the path towards enlightenment, literally, which goes back to Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. Like he was a prince. He had everything handed to him and everything. Guess what? He basically was curious about the world. He decided, okay, I'm going to run. I'm going to take off. Like, yeah, he took off on his family and kids, but he wanted to go out in the world and basically see what the world was really like. And the world is a beautiful, vast, beautiful, ugly place. It's a love-hate relationship when it comes to the world, basically. And it's just, when it comes to basically the addictions and scarcities, basically, that's the whole, that's, like you said previously, when it comes to the religion, it's towards love. That's even the point with Buddhism as well. It's like you drop all these things and it's your path towards enlightenment. It's basically your own self-sustaining satisfaction, serotonin and dopamine heightened within yourself. Like you don't have to take this substance, you don't have to this drug, or you know, you don't have to when it comes to money or this or that. You're just happy. You're just that person. So definitely when it comes to religion, Mark, it definitely goes back into there. I mean, you brought that up in my head when you said that.
There's layers to it.
Another question that let me ask you another question that is right in the theme. Also, she asks, is running truly about fear or love, or is it a necessary phase of spiritual evolution? So
I
is
feel like
running fear? Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like it's I feel like sometimes it can be necessary because that's the thing. Some people, even when it comes to addiction, some people, like I'm against, you know, of course, it's sad, it's disheartening when someone's addicted or someone's going through something. But sometimes people need to get lost to find the road again. Sometimes people need to get lost to find a better road or a new road or themselves again. That's the whole point. Like I don't think of addiction as or a scarcity as like a negative thing. I think of it as a neutral thing, basically. When a person is going through a scarcity or an addiction, to themselves, it is an escapism from whatever they're going through within this realm of the 3D perspective. That's basically what it is. That's the thing. The teacher, my student who is going through the addiction, who is going through the scarcity, is basically feeling that escapism or that negativity when it comes to that. So that's why they run. It's okay to run. Sometimes they run, sometimes they don't, sometimes they stay. But when they do run, usually sometimes, and this is why I say this, and a lot of people, men and women, have disagreed with me when I've said this. Sometimes people need to get lost to find themselves again. Because getting lost, think of a computer, think of a disk drive, basically. You wipe all the memory, basically, and then you start learning all these new things again. You learn these better things again, basically. You learn what to avoid. You learn, basically, coping mechanisms that are better than just taking, you know, H or taking any other sort of thing, basically, or prawn, you know. So that's the thing. Sometimes you need to get lost to find your way again. And it also goes back into the teachings from the Tibetan temples and also the Himalayas. It's this let loose strategy, basically. You love the person. Yes, you love the person. You have compassion for the person, but you also have the accountability factor, basically. For like, you see, this is what happens when this happens, basically. There's a cause and effect, basically, that takes place when you're there supporting that person. So you're not just rewarding them. Yes, you're giving them tough love, somewhat, this and that. But it's not even just the tough love. It's just the life experience plus also the learning experience that you're doing when you're helping and healing this person. I say this for both men and women, literally.
What are your thoughts on that? Is it, again, let me repeat the question. Is it also running truly about fear of love? When men run, is it fear of love, or is it a necessary phase of spiritual evolution? What is your answer to that, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, it is both, right? And it's a matter of looking at it from your situation. You will know if that person is actually capable of exploring and expressing their feelings to you, or if they're avoiding the true connection, the loving connection that they know is there, but they're avoiding it. And in that case, what you're really talking about is somebody that has a heart chakra block. And why do they have that? Why do they have that blocked?
Protection.
They've got it blocked. Yes, it is protection. They've got it blocked because they don't truly accept themselves as worthy of their love. Or perhaps they fear what opening their heart might mean. Quite often, you open your heart, you can get hurt.
Yep.
Doesn't mean it, and I can tell you, I've been through it a few times, right? You open your heart, you love, and then you get hurt. And then you heal and you learn and you grow and you open your heart back up and you try again. And each time you grow, you become more.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of life, of the spiritual journey, of loving, of being hurt. You grow.
It honestly is. I mean, that's the thing. The whole point about basically getting hurt, because one of my friends actually said to me, like, oh, throughout life, and she said this to me at 19, I remember. She said, you will get hurt, but you will love getting hurt because you will love the feeling that it basically brings for when you heal. For when you heal, it's the healing point. So it's your vulnerability, basically, and plus the surrender experience towards basically accepting the healing. That's basically what it is. I didn't understand her until I lost my father at 20 years of age. And basically, like I said, I got lost. That was the whole point. I ran, I did what I did and stuff like that, and found the way back to a better realm, to a better road, basically. So, no, it's definitely real. It's
Beautiful.
definitely real.
There's a question for the divine feminine to understand. So if you could lean in and listen in. Does the divine masculine feel the same intensity of connection, or do they experience it differently than the divine feminine? Essentially what she's saying, do men love the way women? Who wants to go first?
Okay, so
Thank you.
I'll give you my stuff, and then Barron can go after if that's okay. It might help. So I know that, and I did mention this to Barron, that you can be a masculine holding a predominantly divine feminine energy woman. And I did mention this to Barron, that you can be a masculine holding a predominantly divine feminine energy woman that holds a predominantly divine masculine energy. And what I mean by that is, are you more into a woman that holds a predominantly divine masculine energy? And what I mean by that is, are you more in touch with your stable are you more in touch with your stable presence, or are you more intuitively flowing in your emotion, in your awareness of what is happening in your heart in the emotional situation? And we both have both energies in our bodies, in our spirits, and what is predominant will attract the other, will attract the opposite in the other. And so why did I bring all that out first? Because if you are predominantly more intuitive and feminine in your connection, look, you're feeling more emotionally, then you will be attracting someone that is probably less expressive and more reserved, and perhaps slightly avoidant in expressing their emotions to them. Now, does that mean that they feel any less? No. But will it be different? It will. It will, because the the irony in this is that the masculine will have more, the masculine energy will have more insecurity about the love. If they're slightly more avoidant, they will be more insecure about the love. The one that is more intuitive, feminine, is normally more open and more loving and more expressive. and less scared of that feeling. So they are different, but they are so beautifully similar.
Oh, they are.
And so once you understand that, then you get to appreciate what is going on in the dynamic. Hopefully you agree with some of that, Tony.
Oh, absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. And I think that women have this weird idea that men don't love in levels of vulnerability that is mind blowing. And yet, and I feel as if, yeah, they do tend to attract toxic feminines to challenge their own ability to self love, because there are women that are well, they're takers, and there are masculines that are incredibly big givers. And I've seen too many men ruined by bad women, and too many women ruined by fucked up men. So I think we need to stop thinking that because the masculine has some chemical differences in the brain due to hormone differences, it's a real thing. Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. It's not a joke. But there is an innateness of the quality of love that certain great men can give and have given to the. I remember I wanted to see, I gave Barron a movie to watch, which, what was it called again? Fuck, I forgot the movie. It was a film noir and it blew your mind. Do you remember? It was called Body Heat. Body Heat with William Hurt. Body Heat with William Hurt.
Funny.
Great movie.
That movie was hilarious. Right? Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that movie is intense because it
I don't remember watching it. But can you price it for us all?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a movie. Yeah, it was a movie.
You go.
Yeah, no, it was a movie basically about a man who's a lawyer. His name was Ned Racine, and he was based out of Florida. And he would just, like I said, he would lay with different women every single night, player, this and that. Didn't marry, single, married, it did not matter, basically. He finally meets this one woman, where it's basically the love. Like, he feels the lust. Yes, he does for her. But he feels this love. She's married. So they start sneaking around, basically, and this and that. And she's basically able to manipulate him and basically coax him into basically unalive, basically her husband. And he actually went through and everything like that. Now, they were going to run off with the money. And no, she basically ghosts him. And he gets caught. She sets him, basically sets him up, runs off somewhere, and she already has a new man. That's definitely a woman who's a taker. That definitely is. Because
this is what they call the dark feminine. She also called the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
So I find interesting is that, but on a spiritual level, if you look at this movie, you should all watch Body Heat, because it teaches about what is the lesson here. And the lesson here is this inability to self a woman or a woman. The question on the twin flame journey in particular, let's talk about that, is the reason why this is happening, one of the reasons is for you to step back from it and go, wait, hang on, I'm not honoring myself anymore. It's okay to have unconditional love, but I also have to give this unconditional love to myself. And I need to master that. And most people don't master that. Most people give all this unconditional love outside of themselves to be soothed and to get this weird idea that they're going to be okay, that they're seen, protected, and honored, when in fact, the reason why this person is running from you, in a sense, is that the lesson is, when are you going to turn that beautiful capacity for unconditional love into yourself? And when that happens, the irony of ironies is the masculine or feminine, whoever's running, stops running. Now, does it happen where it's divine union that happens? No, because unless this person who's a runner is self-destructive, they will stop. They will come and run back towards you. And you at that point have to say, you're not healed. You're still fucked up. I don't want you until you get it together. Or it might be the person's finally willing to heal and say, listen, show me what I need to do because I'm suffering. I love you. I can't get you out of my mind. In other words, that whole vulnerability is transparent now, and the person comes to that in the right way. But once you've given yourself unconditional love, you will not accept your twin back unless they're willing to do the work, or you will let them go very, very gently, but you'll say no. this is not what I'm accepting in this incarnation. But I wanted to jump into real quick, and another question that came up is this. Hang on, let me read it to you. Are there specific lessons the divine masculine must learn before reunion can happen? In other words, twin flame union or high level soulmate union. Who wants to go first?
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that.
Why? Of course you are.
I mean, okay. Well, I mean, I think the thing is really like what it is. You kind of answered it already, haven't you? Like, what is it that is necessary to feel worthy of being loved?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have self love and you love one another as you love yourself, then I would say you're ready. And I say that in such a simple way because it really is that simple. When you are stuck in your mind playing games with emotions, trying to figure out, is this fair, is that fair, are they loving me fairly, am I giving too much, or are they not giving enough? I mean, that will absolutely come naturally anyway. You don't have to think about that. But you know when somebody is in their mind and not their heart, and that they're not giving freely, they're playing tricks, mind games. I think really that's what it's about. What would you say?
I honestly feel like it would be basically dick control. I mean, that's one of the first things because I mean that's the thing. Like the heart chakra, I would have to say when it comes to when it comes to the masculine, yes, it's definitely wounded the heart chakra, but it's also the root chakra as well. It's like those two that are basically able to cohabitate with each other when it comes to a loving relationship. Basically, when those two are not in synchronicity with each other, is basically where problems start to arise. Basically, when it comes to a relationship, that's the thing, and that's what a lot of masculines are starting to. When it comes to our previous thing, a lot of masculines basically running. A lot of masculines are running away from Hooters. They're running away from Prawn. They're running away from a lot of these things. And I feel like when they run away from these things, what it is, it's a massive reset that's happening right now. It's a massive reset on a collective level when it comes to male sexuality. It's a cataclysmic reset, and that's why like a lot of women, especially like a lot of these like explicit ex workers and stuff like that, they're being like holy Christ, like a lot of the men they're leaving. Like we're not even seeing like young men our age. Like what's going on? Like it's just these old creeps and this and that. What's going on? And that's really what's happening. It's this massive reset that's happening. That's why a lot of men have like went into the woods, retreated from all of it, because it's like, okay, I was taught all these things.
Yeah.
Now I'm running away from all these things. Now I'm going to drop all these things, and it's a complete reset. So again, like it's similar to, like I said, a lot of men are basically getting lost. And here's the thing: a lot of men are basically now finding themselves. That's why people like Mark is on here. That's why people like me are on here. That's why you have other divine masculines. I'm shocked right now. Like I'm actually shocked. Like I never thought that. Like back in 2023, when I would see my mother go live on here, I was like, there was barely any masculines. There's barely any masculines. There were barely any masculines. I mean, in 2025, I'm seeing so many more masculines basically going to spiritualism, going to new, whatever, like even just finding themselves. A lot of them, a lot of these masculines now are starting to get into this, are starting to get into this kind of work, are starting to basically want to heal themselves, whether it's through psychedelia or whether it's from, drug-free options, basically, or meditations, basically. And that's the thing. Like previously, when it came to the masculine, same as the feminine, when it comes to like addiction, basically, or escapism, basically previously it was drugs, it was prawn. That was the escapism of the 3D that would basically circumvent them back into the matrix. That's basically what it really was. Now what's happening is basically a bunch of men have ran off. And yeah, some women are complaining. I don't think women should be complaining. I think that should be a good thing. If the men are running off, they're obviously dumping a lot of the stuff that they were taught when it comes to women or when it comes to society. They're dumping a lot of that stuff when they start running away. And then now the process basically begins to healing. And when I see some spiritual women, I mean, I'm not saying that this is all spiritual women, but when I see some spiritual women basically hating men or hating masculinity, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you told these men to basically like, oh, you're this, you're that. You said all these things basically about men. They're doing these things. So why not basically hold space for them? They're here. I mean, like, so that's the thing. We're seeing this advancement basically happening within the masculine, and it's beautiful. It's honestly a beautiful sight to see. But when it comes to older men, sadly, I'm sorry to tell you women this, because I know there's some 60, 50, 40-year-old that are watching this who do not want to date a younger man. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of these older men are going to wither away. Like, I'm sorry, they're not on the same vibrational frequency pathway as younger men like myself, who are basically running away from all the stuff that's basically have been indoctrinated and taught to them. And it's shaking up the establishment. It's shaking up the establishment. It's shaking up the media. It's shaking up. You can see it within these puppet talking heads. You can see it. You can see how they're reacting. They're always talking about men. They're always bashing men. They're always saying all these things of like, oh, you need to watch porn. Oh, you need to, touch yourself like 9 times a day and this and that and everything. It's this redirectness all the way. Yes, Star. It's this redirectness right back into this harming area when it comes to the root chakra and when it comes to the heart chakra. And then it also goes back into that guy who I was looking up to previously when I was in the red pill area, Dylan McKnight, who I thought had everything figured out. And it turns out he's a massive OF addict, basically. And it's quite insane, but this is what we're going to see more and more and more and more. We're going to see more of this, basically. A lot more men that are basically coming out, basically being like, okay, I thought this dude had it figured out. I thought this could. No. Like, no, it's basically everything that comes to masculinity, being rich, having money, and this and that. The whole script is being overturned right now. The whole complete script basically is being overturned.
Beautiful. It's beautiful because I see it too, and as a feminine, I'm looking at how it has harmed women and men's union, true transparent union over the centuries. And now we're seeing a reset, as you're putting it. There are multiple levels of reset and righting the wrongs. Many of us were the masculines who were the toxic masculines in past lives, and we've returned as lionesses, coming back to right the wrongs by demanding from ourselves and from our divine masculine the right action and the right consciousness. And so that's why this video that you shared with me was so important, because it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are we still going to perpetuate these kinds of weird, toxic, nasty little boy, energies? Also, what's interesting about the red pill masculines that are weak and don't have a compass of integrity in their root chakra at all, okay, is that they are thinking that the true divine masculine emerging out of these shadows is a beta. And the irony of ironies is that there are more alpha than alphas. There was a anthropologist, sociologist, who said that we had gotten the alpha concept of the alpha wolf wrong. The alpha wolf, do you know that, Mark? Or do you know? I want to give you turns to talk because I don't want to take over this.
No, please finish the sentence. What are you?
Okay. No, so that the alpha male, that we connote the alpha male as being, the swaggering playboy bullshit dude, was really wolves in captivity. Real alpha wolves, she-wolves or wolves in the wild, take care of the young, take care of the old, they take care of their community. They are caretakers, but they're also warriors. And they're shamans in the way they intuitively understand what is a safe space, what is due. So, in other words, we're learning about wolves. Meanwhile, these weird ideas of machismo, right, that we connect with alpha male interpretations of what that looks like, is actually fake. It's a distorted view. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's also falling apart. That's the thing. Like, that's why you're seeing a lot of these people saying, like, return to traditionalism, reject degeneracy, like all these, like, far right terms, basically, just basically like women in the kitchen, hot soup, like all this stuff. And it's like, it's falling. It's literally fall. Like, they're trying to like redirect the ship. And it's like, guys, the ship is not turning. The bow is not turning. It's not. Like, it's not, like, it's never going to go back to there. Like, even the very same dudes who I looked at, when I was like in the red pill area, like 5-6 years ago. I meant when I was like 15, around there, even 10 years ago. But going back to there, basically, like, a lot of these boys, basically, they're not even red pillars anymore. They're not even in that whole paradigm of the red pill anymore. Like, these men now have, either these men are single, or they're doing amazing healing work for other men, like Sacred Sons, which it would be incredible to actually join Sacred Sons for like a 2-week getaway. But basically, like, that's what's happening. Like, it's basically, it's the panic. It's the panic of losing control. That's what it is. That's really what the red pill is. That's really what this whole thing. It used to be about self-improvement. It used to be about accountability for men. It used to be, because I've been part of that movement. I've seen it. Like, I mean, a lot of the men who I met when I was 15 years of age, a lot of them, and it goes back basically into men who are not just only trying, but actually are redeeming themselves. A lot of these men went through sexual trauma. A lot of these men were abused by their alcoholic fathers. A lot of these, or mothers, a lot of these men, like, most of them are actually not bad men. Like, yeah, they're bad because of what they're saying and stuff like that. You're going to just get that from your confirmation bias from when you first listen to like one of those men speak. But when you actually sit down and talk with these men, it's so fucking sad what these men have been through. Like, seriously. And you can see why a lot of them will just turn off their heart chakra, basically. They'll turn it off because it's too painful. It's too painful, mommy. It's too painful that I was shamed because, I got, because it's something normal, like, going through puberty as a boy.
That's right.
Being shamed for it or being made fun of for it by my father or my mother. I mean, or just the masculine shaming, basically, of like, oh, you like her? Well, you're not supposed to only like her. I've seen dads actually do this. Like, dads egging their sons on to basically cheat on their girls. I'm not kidding. Like, I've seen this before. And a lot of this stuff that is like this old traditional masculinity and stuff like that, when it comes to like these red pillars being like, you have to be this to be a man, you have to be this to be a man. Like, not only are they being exposed when it comes to their hypocrisies, they're being prawn addicts basically, or being abusers. No. Like, it's not only just that, it's that they're losing steam. They're losing the bow of the ship is not turning anymore. It doesn't care. The wind is obvious. The wind direction is pointing men away from not only just, the 3D perspective of masculinity of like, oh, you need to be rich and this and that and everything, or you need to be a weak male, you need to be pacified, this and that. No. It doesn't even come from the liberal media. No, it's even rejecting the red pill. It's the third way. And that's what I call it. I call it the third way because let's be real, throughout society, throughout thousands of years in lineages, basically, what have they told us about our civilizations when it comes to men and women, society, and gender dynamics? There's only two ways. There's only good and bad. There's only good and evil, basically. And a lot of times when it comes to these social contracts, like, oh, the evil side, basically, or the good side is just what? A watered down, minute version of the evil side. And what's happening now is that men are completely rejecting the two ways. And that's why I call it the third way, because the third way is essentially cut down the trees, cut down the logs, pave a road, build your own civilization, build your own statutes, build your own masculinity, build your own set and moral and values. And none of it is either from the conservative standpoint of like traditional masculinity being like, oh, a woman is only duty is to be a baby maker, cook and clean. And also it's not the liberal point of view of like, oh, women can be single, this and that while married and sleep with a bunch of dudes. It's like, it rejects both of those things. And that's where the third way comes in. That's where the third way comes in. And it's beautiful to see that. And like I said, as I said previously, a lot of men, and I even say the same with women, a lot of people, I'm going to just put the two genders in, a lot of people are not going to advance. A lot of them will stay stuck in their ways. Yeah. But the good thing about that when it comes to, because I recently put out these videos about dating relationships, how it's both sides screwing up basically. The great thing is this, when it comes to basically the masculines running plus also healing. Like I tell men this a lot. The good thing is this, hey, at least she said on that street interview, my man better be making at least $500,000 a month. Because now you know what the hell to actually avoid. Like that's the thing. It's the same with these dudes. These dudes are like, oh, she's only to be a baby maker and cook and clean. Great, lady. Now you know what to avoid. That's the thing. You now have people who are completely objectively honest about their intentions. And that's a beautiful thing to see. So now it's less time being wasted. It's less trauma being inflicted on both masculine and feminine. And at the same time, it brings a greater, more truthful society. That's what would you have to say to that, Mark or Mom?
No, Mark.
Yeah, you've got it. You've nailed it. I mean, there is a lot of importance to be taken from knowing what you want and speaking your truth. Getting your needs clear and out there, really important.
Yeah.
How much time could we save? How much further along can we get with that level of honesty?
Yeah.
That's really important. I really like the way that you brought the ship movement in. I think that what you're noticing now is that those that will be able to control the ship are those that have that self-control, that have done the healing. Those that can't, those that are stuck, they're going to have to sink their ship, go back to shore, build a new ship, and learn how to ride it. Right? I mean that the steps that I was writing down the other day and are resonating so much with what both of you have been saying. It's like you have to have complete, full self-acceptance of where you are.
Yep.
Hey, Red Mama.
Yeah.
And then it's self-responsibility is like, now, what do I need to do? What actions do I have to take? Because until you get to that point, you're really living in like kind of a learned helplessness, following the system, going along with the status quo.
Yeah.
Which is the whole problem that we're in. We've got masculine following toxic masculines who don't know their way. We've got women, look, no judgment on women, but if you're copying your other women in the social media circles that are completely toxic, going nowhere, you're going to end up in the same place. You're following that boat that has no rudder, that's going careering off into the storm, right? How do we change it? Awareness and self-acceptance are so important. You get to a special place that it's going to define you. You're going to wake up with such clear vision of where you've gone wrong, of how you go, I'm not going to do that behavior. I'm not going to sleep with somebody on a first date. I'm not going to allow myself to go after this toxic masculine and ignore what I know is important to me. I'm going to ask these questions instead. I'm going to slow my roll and get to know people. You know, I'm going to vibe with a group and then find if there's somebody there that I'm really attracted to who's clearly got good morals, because they're in this small group that I vibe with. And these are the sort of people that I like. These are the sort of people that I can be in a community with. And if there's somebody there that I'm attracted to, and we're all like on the same moral fiber, then what you're going to find is so much more energetic flow in a positive and healing way.
I have a question.
Sorry,
I have a question. It's going to be our last question. We're going to wrap it up, but I want to thank you guys. The question is, how can we stop the chore wars? Why is this such an issue? Is it due to women telling men I'm going to jump in first, if you don't mind. I'm going to jump in first because the chore wars is you women aren't teaching your little boys how to do chores. It's your fault. I'm sorry. It's your fault. Because when the little boy is 2, 3 years old, he can help you peel a carrot. He can help you sweep the floor. It's not about expectation of how good it's done. It's about teaching your son how to cook. It's about teaching your son how to do their laundry. It's about teaching your son how to do it so that they are independent. And I don't know where we decided that it was okay for a boy not to learn how to boil water, much less make a fucking whole entire meal. But the chore wars is when your car is covered with snow, a real man is going to go out and defrost your car and make sure it's clean and make sure that the car is warm before you get in it without you telling him, because he loves you. And he may not have $500,000 or $100 million in his bank, but he will do these things for you. He will draw a bath for you. You will draw a bath for him. In other words, it's fairness. It's nurturing. And these are and nurturing, to nurture a human being, it has to be taught how to do it, how it looks. I'm sorry. That's it. You can't take a man who's in his 30s or 40s and he still doesn't know how to fucking ask you, hey, I'm about to do a wash of laundry. Do you have anything I need to pick up that maybe I might miss? Similarly, hey baby, I know you're tired. You've had a really fucking rough week. I'm gonna make a fucking fabulous Sunday dinner. What would you like? Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. My son pumps my gas for me when we go out together.
Oh, he's really cute.
Yeah, and the smallest things count the most. Yes, exactly. So that's really it. And this is where we as women, because let me put it this way, ladies, we are the first point of connection to how we are treated, how we raise these little boys into teenage, young teenagers into young men. Okay? And that means that if your husband's doing fucked up things, or your ex is raising your kid to grab asses and to do all kinds of stuff, taking the kid to Hooter, and you see that on you better go off on that. And we as elders, when we see that kind of bullshit, yeah, you want to call us Karens? We're going to be those Karens for the right reasons. I personally will call, I will call a woman like that a Kali energy, not a Karen, a Kali. So I'm going to call it a Kali. When a woman calls out a MFer doing toxic shit or treating their girlfriend toxically, just like I'm going to call divine masculines who call out men Shivas, the destroyer of blocks. Mm-hmm. We need to create our own terms. Like, it's not new age, it's ancient wisdom. It's not new age. There's nothing new about this. So when you ask these questions on why is there chore wars, well, ask, you can thank his mother. I'm sorry. Oh, well, what about his father? Well, most people, unfortunately, don't have a father in the home. Most people. With divorce being what it is. Okay? Should the father do more in that? Of course he should.
One thing that I do need to say, he can also love you even when you ask him, because he's also going to do it. Like, here's the thing. Like, I mean, a lot of times, like, people want to, when it comes to chore wars, I didn't understand the question in the previous sense, because I was in previous relationships. We just did equal housework. That's literally what we did. It was just equal. Everything was equal. It was fine. Or when someone's sick, you help a person basically. Or when you're sick, you expect that person to help you basically. I honestly don't even think of it as like gender. I just think of it as like mutual respect. That's what it is when it comes to like a relationship. Intimate, non-intimate, like that's the whole thing, literally.
Let me jump in. I'm sorry, but Yeti's saying it comes from women telling men they aren't doing it right. Well, let me just say this, okay? I'm just going to jump in. My twin could clean the house better than I ever could. My husband, we've redecorated the house while I was gone from work. If he was on a day off, though only the furniture was fucking moved, and he had bought plants and shit like that. So. Women who are telling men who are sloppy, this is why you live with men before you marry them, because within a month you're going to know this guy's nasty. Like, he has no fucking ethics in cleaning his house. The sheets, he's been sleeping on the sheets for fucking a month. What the fuck's going on here? I mean, I'm sorry, you can love a man all you want, but men also have to say to themselves, it's a, and then look at their bedroom and go, it's a pigsty. It's a pigsty. What am I going to do? I mean, I can't make that my normal, but I can tell you that, for example, my husband, who was 21, would do his bed military style, better than any woman who can make a bed. I'll tell you that. Military. You couldn't even move that fucking sheet. So it's about, I mean, he would iron his shirts better than I could iron. He would iron my dresses because I didn't know how to use starch, but he did. So it was self-taught, by the way. Just don't think it was his mother. In this case, this was a man who actually went against everything he'd been taught to become the man he wanted to be. And still had addiction because he was molested, and this is known. But what I'm going to say to you is that it's a willingness, and sometimes people, men, sorry, guys, no offense, but you know who you are, and you know your friends, you're passive fucking aggressive, and you don't want to fucking make sure that house is clean. You know what clean looks like. And fuck you if you're going to play games like you don't know what it looks like.
I think self-care is really important. If you're not loving yourself, and you know, go and see where they live before you get in any sort of relationship with somebody.
Exactly.
Can they look after themselves? Are they demonstrating self-care? It's quite easy. And look, if you still care for them, if you believe that they can change, help them learn how to do these things, and give them a chance to prove.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, sometimes men forget because they're working in this and that. They forget, and even when they're told, like they'll do it. Basically, when they're told, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. It just means he's tired. Like, if he puts up an argument, that's a whole entire different story. But
what it is, you put it on your fucking alarm clock. Did you do the fucking? Did you take the trash out? Did you sweep the floor? You put on your alarm clock. I mean, if you really want, you do it. I mean, to me, it's self-respect, number one, because. And it's also a small step in honoring your divine feminine when you live with her. It's just as important as taking a bath together and washing a woman's hair and having a good time, just sensual, intimate.
I do have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you hit it, but it's important to point out that we've talked about addictions and coping strategies, and one of the signs of trauma in reaction to being in a narcissistic abusive relationship is hoarding.
Yeah.
It's hoarding. To cope, you keep stuff. You don't throw stuff away. You keep things out of a need for security. You hold on to things. I think, is it called, I forget, there's a specific Latin name surrounding the sin that this is associated with. And ultimately it's it's kind of like a lack of self-love, right? It's carelessness.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. The word.
But once you understand that, then you can kind of say, right, well, how can I bring that level of love and security into my being so that I feel comfortable and a sense of enjoyment in tidying things up. It is possible that you actually get an uncomfortable feeling because it takes some sort of level of security away from you, So once you understand the trauma that people are going through, the reasons, the underlying causes of their behavior and the coping strategy that's causing it. And I say this because so many of the divine masculine and feminine twin flames out there, they're probably not aware why that behavior is existing. But once you can understand the underlying coping strategy and belief systems and trap trauma that's making them be that way, you can, and that's not saying that you put up with it, but you can have compassion even if you love somebody at arm's length for who and why they are that way.
Yeah. And there are some people who are just, they don't want to change. And at that point, you have to choose yourself. You have to say, is this something I'm willing to live with? Like, I just know, like, certain men who don't, like, personal hygiene, who don't want to develop personal hygiene on a level, like, for example, I'm going to be blunt, okay? Like getting their root chakra, shaving it, making sure that the hair is, it's smelling good, getting a good cologne that smells good. So be the mixture of your pheromone or oils. I remember meeting a young man who smelled unfucking real. And I went, look, I'm so sorry. I could be your grandmother, but could you tell me what you're wearing? And it was I didn't want him to think I was climbing onto him. And he told me it was a series of oils he had put together. A very masculine, beautiful man. And he had put oils together, and it was his own particular perfume he had created. Now, that doesn't make him bisexual or otherwise. He was just very creative, very self-expressive masculine. And we have to understand, guys, you need to smell good. You need to be clean. You need to clean their poo-poo and your all these parts. And you need to...
Obviously.
Wow. I mean, no, but I mean, people think, but they don't. They don't. That's why there's this lavender wedding videos going around and saying, I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll marry your girlfriend and all that shit. And you know where I'm getting with that. And that is bullshit. Now, am I against lavender? No, I'm not. If that's what you want, God bless you. Enjoy. But my point to you is that there must be a problem for this conversation to be so prevalent in the feminine heterosexual community of, fuck it, I want a lavender wedding. It's like, dude, like, fucking grow up, man. She wants to watch a football game, like she wants the hole in her head in some cases. But sit down with your girl and watch The Notebook. Watch movies that are chick movies. Listen to books that are on the esoteric, on Audible while it's raining, in bed, together, nude, not to have sex, but to just be intimate together. Learn how to be a man. And men don't... These little boys that can't even make their own bed, where there's trash all over the floor, those aren't the men you want anyway, ladies. So why are we splitting hairs on this? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. There's absolutely no fear in being able to do any of that. That should be that and everything, you know, like have the food delivered and you know, go and take all the rubbish out and collect the food, then bring it back upstairs and, you know, make sure that the woman's looked after. It's not that difficult, really. It's just... It
really isn't. It really isn't. It's just... And the problem is that some mothers are toxic fucks, and they will fucking treat their little boys, who are teenage boys now, as little fucking kings, as little princes, and cater to them. Yeah. I had my son fucking cooking at 5. Okay? Well, what about knives? What about knives? Use common sense. What about
knife skills are learned? You can learn knife skills. Barron, you do chef cooking, right?
Yeah, I do chef cooking. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay, so you learn knife skills. Once you learn knife skills, you can pretty much cut a vegetable blindfolded.
Oh no, I can't. No, literally. I mean, I can also cut off silverback, you know, blindfolded as well. Literally, off of lamb.
Yeah. So
and that's not to gloat. It's just once you have that skill,
learn it.
It is possible. It is possible to be able to do that.
But, Star says consideration for your partner, what she likes for once. Let's have a movie night. Yeah, but let's have a movie night. But also, this is also for you women. Have a movie night where you've seen Layer Cake. For many, that would be considered a man film, but it's actually a hell of a good film. Layer Cake.
Honestly, I look up to that, man.
Yeah, me too. But you see what I'm saying? It's like what I'm saying to you, it's tit for tat. Today we're going to do a Jane Austen movie. Tomorrow, baby, let's do Layer Cake, the movie you've been dying to watch with me, or Terminator, or whatever. It's. Do you understand? For you to understand your man, for your man to understand you, your mind, the way it works, and what makes you sigh. Both of you have to share each other's gender culture through literature and movies, and then you can go esoteric, you know, with Dr. Joe Dispenza's books and things like that on Audible, so you can share it together. This is something me and my twin did all the time. We would literally every day for the entire time we lived together, we would listen to Audible books. The last book was Breath by James Nestor. So it's not like I'm preaching to you shit I haven't experienced. It really brings such beautiful intimacy to these relationships that you will never accept anything less moving forward. Never. Once you experience the nectar of that, right?
Of course, definitely. Jennifer said one thing. Those men just want a mom. Yeah, maybe I want a mom. I'm kidding. I'm just like...
So Red Mama mentions, I think that's the route where women want to save men that don't see anything to change. I mean, that is a real red flag, right? You're talking about a man that's like, well, I'm okay with who I am. I don't want to change. It's time to walk away. Yeah. You know, don't keep giving what the man wants if he's not willing to have that conversation about things that you feel are important to you.
Yeah, it's over. It's a wrap. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, gentlemen. I want to wrap it up. I want to say, I want to give the nectar. We will be back here Thursday at 2, if that's okay with you, Water Bear
Yep.
Medicine and Baron. It's up to you guys. You let me know. I'll advertise it a couple of days. But please, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any masculines here, was there any masculine here listening to this live? Could you put your hand up? Could you just say, hi, I'm a man? Because if these 16 people were all women, we can see the problem, can't we?
There was one.
Yeah, but I want to know, is anybody going to tell who is the man here? Thank you,
I
Lex.
think we got Matthew Belcher, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he here? Okay. Okay, I just
Unless his girlfriend's using his phone, maybe.
I don't know. But I want to I want to thank the masculine there must be one other who's here, and I want to thank all of you sacred, beautiful, divine, feminine high priestesses that are here as well. Go look at the repost I did on that little boy. I want you to tell me what your thoughts are on that. Thank you all. This will be on YouTube. You can check it out. Please share it with your divine masculines, broken, toxic masculines, fathers, sons, daughters. Please share this. I don't often ask you to share anything. Water Bear Medicine is looking to create a group of masculines for masculine healing circles and talks that are much more transparent and maybe even raw than what we're able to share here, which is necessary for the mass healing that we need. And this again is like a domino effect. When we have masculines like this, these two gentlemen talking, it becomes a domino effect. It becomes the butterfly power of shifts and change. We have a contrasting of masculines who are doing what happened in the Congo, men who are doing what they're doing with women, bear in the woods shit, that's happening. But now you can see front and center that we have divine masculines fully aware, fully conscious, and loving hearts in their own journey to help lift other masculines for the benefit of all, for the beautiful energies of the divine feminine and divine masculine standing shoulder to shoulder in divine union. We want this for you. We want this for the entire planet. This can't continue, my friends, what we've been seeing. And so it ends with us. We create the world we want. Last words for both of you gentlemen. Whoever wants to go first, last words.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate the time that you've both put in. I know that this is really beginning early stages, but it's been wonderful questions today. I think that Barron really had some interesting stuff that we didn't quite get to, but ultimately, I think if I can say for next week, if we can think about it, where are we?
Yes.
How do we get here, and where are we going for both masculine and feminine? Yes. And that's what I would like.
Let's do that. Okay, Barron. Okay, Water Bear, thank you so much. I'm so excited for the next one. So put it on your calendar. It's going to be Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, right? We're going to just do a weekly show. And hopefully we can attract maybe other divine masculines to come on the live, right? Wouldn't that be cool? And go from there. But I'm really, really happy. I will upload this on YouTube. Water Bear will have it on his. I think I forgot to send you the last one too, and I have to send that to you. And then we'll go from there, okay? Thank you, all of you, for being so beautiful. Anything at all? Anything else you want to say about your group? Please follow Water Bear Medicine. Please follow both of you.
The key thing is, while I will be predominantly focusing on having a male group,
yes,
I will absolutely be helping any men answer the mystery that is the divine feminine. I'll be helping them to discover what it is that they're not getting, that they're not understanding. This is not about just self-discovery. It's about union. It's about understanding how to be the best you can be in your union. But it does start with self-love. It has to. I
agree. All right. On that note, namaste. Please go on the YouTube channel. It'll be there. All right. And please follow these two gentlemen right now. While I have this on screen, please follow these gentlemen. Please follow. I'm letting it. Okay. Sending much love on your journey. Namaste. Now, Well, I have this on screen. Please follow these gentlemen. Please follow. I'm letting it. Okay. Sending much love on your journey. Namaste. Be well.